This happened over a decade ago, but I still think about how close I came to losing my life. At the time, I was already with my future husband when I met his cousin. We had a lot in common. Both of us had battled addiction and anorexia. We started talking regularly on the phone and even hung out a couple of times to grab food and see a movie. But one night, he kissed me in his car. I knew right then that it wasn't appropriate, so I told him we shouldn't talk anymore. I came clean to my future husband about the kiss. He was understanding, but I didn't tell him the full story that his cousin had gotten extremely upset when I turned him down. Eventually, some time passed and we started hanging out again as friends. Since we were both struggling with eating disorders, we always went to the same quiet place. But after a few visits, I realized our dynamic wasn't healthy, and I decided we should stop meeting altogether. He asked to see me one last time. Against my better judgment, I agreed. We went to our usual spot, and over dinner, he started talking about his apartment, his job, and how happy he could make me. It was already late, and instead of heading toward my house, he drove to a forest preserve. All the lights were out, and it was pitch black. As soon as we pulled into the parking lot, I had a horrible, gut-level feeling that something was very wrong. We were alone. He turned off the car, looked at me, and said, "We're meant for each other." I didn't want to upset him. I knew he had a history of violence, so I gently reminded him that I was engaged and that we were just friends. That's when he started getting visibly upset. His voice shook as he told me he loved me. Then, without warning, he wrapped his arm tightly around my neck and began pressing down hard, specifically on the right side, where the carotid artery runs. The last thing I remember was staring straight ahead. The next thing I knew, a police officer was knocking on the window, asking if I was okay. I was terrified and disoriented. There was vomit on my shirt, and I had wet myself. That kind of response only happens when someone has been unconscious from a serious neck compression. He'd knocked me out by cutting off blood flow to my brain. He was a former high school wrestler and knew exactly what he was doing. He tried to brush it off, telling the officer that I was drunk and everything was fine. The officer gave him a ticket, but I was too scared to tell the truth. I thought if he got arrested, my now husband's family would somehow blame me. Looking back, I know that wasn't true, but trauma clouds your thinking. I told the officer I was fine, but insisted that I wanted to go home. I hoped saying it out loud would make him feel too watched to try anything else. He drove me home in silence. To this day, I don't know whether he intended to kill me or simply lost control in a moment of rage. Either way, he came terrifyingly close to ending my life. The body doesn't react the way mine did, vomiting, urinating, blacking out, unless it's been pushed to the brink. I eventually told my now husband what had happened, though not right away. I felt ashamed, like it was somehow my fault for agreeing to meet him. I only saw his cousin a few more times at family event. After that, he stopped coming around, and he never dared speak to me again. If that officer hadn't shown up when he did, I'm not sure I'd be here to tell this story.